Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to a Raw Law. I hope I don't sound like a chipmunk again, unfiltered. So please let me know in the comments whether I do sound like a chipmunk and if this mic is operational. It should be. It should be working fine, but I just want to do a quick mic check before we get too deep into this, and all you hear is like we did that one time. So I'm doing my best to avoid that situation. Um, Today, with your host, the DUI Guy Plus, by the way, I think I kind of forgot to mention that. And I have a guest today. Today, we have James from court is going to be joining us. And he is got eyes on the ground at the Murdough trial. The Murdough Murder, she sells seashells by the Murdough trial shore in South Carolina. Now, that is dope. That is dope. I wish I could join in. But unfortunately I have too much work that is calling me at this juncture and other travels. Like I said, right now I'm in obviously, as you can tell, a much warmer climate than South Carolina. That's for sure. So, for those of you unfamiliar with the case, real quick, the Murdough murders was the fatal shooting of Mr. Murdaugh's wife, Maggie. She was 52 at the time, and their son, Paul, a 22-year-old junior at the University of South Carolina. The family had established a legal dynasty in the Low Country region of South Carolina, and the killings began to be known as the Murdough murders. So that is what's happening in South Carolina right now. He's on trial. The trial started on Monday. So I imagine jury selection either concluded. I guess we're going to hear it from James. Jury selection either concluded or has begun, and or opening statements began on Monday. So without further ado, James from court. How are you, James?
Hey Larry, I'm doing well. How are you? Good evening.
Good evening. It's afternoon here. Thanks for joining Fem Natale as a member to the channel. Um, so yeah, tell us about it. So the Murdough murder trial. Are they trying both murders of the wife and the son at the same time? And when did it start? And give us all the details.
Yeah, well, this all started probably about 2 years ago, as you said, with the murders. But their tragedies in the family go back before that. There's been some very, shall we say, coincidental deaths surrounding their family. I don't know if you've heard about that. There was a housekeeper who mysteriously died. There was a boating accident that killed a girlfriend of a friend of one of the sons. There was another mysterious car hit and run accident, possibly involving someone of the family. And then, of course, just a lot of other rumors and local gossip involving the family and the community. But this really then took a turn when there was a alleged assassination attempt on Alex Murdaugh. The person who did it was taken in for questioning, and basically, for questioning involving the murder of the wife and son as well. And then he confessed to basically being set up and paid to attack Alex Murdaugh, though it didn't go through. It wasn't successful. And then that basically gave rise to this investigation, because at first the police seemed to be very comfortable with not looking at Alex Murdaugh as a
Potential
perpetrator.
suspect.
Yeah, as a suspect. So, so that's how this started. Is that your question?
Well, yeah. So that's how it started. And then when was jury selection? Do we know?
Oh, jury selection started on Monday. I don't know before then, I guess, what they were doing behind the scenes, but they were all called in on Monday. There was 4 pools. of jury. I think what was it, 90 each or something like that. Um, but oh no, it was 900 total, I believe, right? I think jurors. I don't know. There was a lot. There was
You're asking me questions I
okay.
cannot answer,
I'm
James.
asking myself as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot, but there was 4 different pools. So each pool, well, the first ones took a lot longer, but they were each asked a bunch of questions, standard questions, of course, for the jury, but then an additional questionnaire that I believe was introduced by the defense. But um, okay, so yeah, chat is confirming it was 900 total
900
jurors.
total.
Yeah. So yeah, so there were 4 basically rounds, and then
Wow.
that ended today when they were all brought in this morning, all of them, and then they went through that process and all down to 12 with 6 alternates. I mean, it was done rather quickly. I was not expecting it to be
I was
today.
gonna say 2 days. That's it. Like Monday,
Yeah,
Tuesday, and we have we run down 900 people to 6 to 12. 12.
yes. Yeah, 12 with 6 alternates, and it was rather quick, I believe. I thought they were gonna take a lot longer, especially going through the jurors, because to me, this is kind of one of the biggest defenses that you have is picking jurors who either are going to be people that you think are already siding with you, or people that are truly gonna be unbiased and not know anything about this case, which, um, for the people who are watching it and in the chat and stuff, I mean, when they ask the question of, "Have you ever heard anything about this case before?" Almost 98% of the jury pool stood up almost every single time. Everyone had heard about this case in one way or another. So, in my idea, they would have taken a lot longer carefully selecting the juries and asking them questions. Are you sure you never heard anything? You know, what is your thought when you think of Alex Murdough? Do you have a negative thought, or you know what I mean? But I guess maybe they don't do that. I'm not really familiar with how jury process works in general. This is like my first time, so
Gotcha. Oh, so you weren't there for like I know you went to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial in Fairfax. You spent a significant portion of your time there. You didn't witness the jury selection in that trial, did you?
no, I didn't go for the actual jury selection process.
You got to there at the opening statements stage, I imagine.
Yeah, just after that. Yeah, I came
Just
like the
after.
first week. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so okay, did you say there were 6 jurors with 12 alternates, or
No,
are there
12
12
jurors
with
and 6 alternates.
12 jurors and 6 alternates? Okay, I was about to say that makes a lot more sense. Okay, and only 6 alternates. Do they anticipate it? That sounds like they anticipate it to be a quite a short trial. Because when I went to the Kristen Smart jury trial, they had, well, I guess it's kind of a misnomer. They had 20 on each side, so that was 12 plus 8 alternate, and there
Hmm,
was a total of 40 jurors. So I suppose, I mean, okay, so maybe 4 to 5 weeks maximum they anticipate this trial will go by my calculations, because usually you can anticipate how long the trial will last based on the number of jurors selected, alternate jurors. I mean, so
interesting.
6 probably pinpoints it at about 4 to 5 weeks, I would say, no more than, in the judge's mind at least. And of course, how does the judge get the idea? They get it from defense counsel and the prosecution, the amount of witnesses, etc. Because the lawyers have experience, they know how long the trial will approximately take. Um, okay, so jury is picked. Today was opening statements, and I understand you were not physically in a courtroom today, right?
Yes.
Are you going back
Yeah, I'm gonna go back on Monday
on Monday? Okay.
for sure.
That's still going to be the prosecution's case. So you're going to hear witnesses for the prosecution testifying and providing evidence and testimony as to Alex Murdaugh's guilt. So I'm looking forward to having you back on for sure when you have some more intel about juror reactions and just the overall vibe. Now, so far in the last couple of days, what can you tell us? What have you garnered? What have you gathered? What have you observed happening in the courtroom?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I mean, well, I didn't go today, honestly, because I didn't think that they would finish so early. I did not believe opening statements was going to happen today, and I really felt like I got a great feeling of the courtroom in the past few days. The first thing that stands out is that it really is a small community. I mean, they'll say it over and over and over again, on the news and different things like that, but everyone knows everyone here. I mean, from the people, I was outside and happened to meet relatives of someone, I'll just say a political person, in the South Carolina, elected offices who they just came. There are state senators who have shown up from nearby counties and the counties who know
Wow.
everyone there, and the people, the jurors, they all either, not all, I'm sorry, but a good portion of them stand up and they either know the Murdough family, they know the witnesses, they know the prosecution, uh, someone. So there were, obviously the people they selected were ones who didn't know, but it was a very small amount. I mean, by the time they got down, it was not that many people, by today, after they had weeded everyone out. Um, it's very southern, very friendly, very relaxed, compared to the Johnny Depp trial, which felt to me kind of very much like, like a federal court. It was a little, I don't want to say stuffy, but it was very by the books, except for the lady screaming, "This is your baby," to Johnny Depp. She was quickly taken out, of course. But otherwise, the judge was very, I think, everyone was very, it felt very DC, you know what I mean? Very kind of like straight laced. And this is very relaxed. They're very friendly, talkative. Um, if I don't know if you were listening to the live streams, but like the jury selection process, someone would be like, "Oh yeah, I worked at," yeah, or they'd be like, "Okay, well, where do you work? What do you do? And are you married?" And they'd say, "Oh, I work at the Wendy's in in this town." And the clerk of court would be like, "Oh, I love that Wendy's, blah blah blah. I'm there every Tuesday." Or
The
someone would be
clerk.
like, "Oh yeah, I'm retired, but I used to work at the Food Lion doing this." And the clerk of court would be like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. We miss seeing you down there, blah 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 blah." So it was very, yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very, interesting. One person, they ask, "Are you, single or whatever?" And they go, "I'm happily divorced." And everyone starts laughing, and she's like, "Well, if anyone has a number." I mean, one guy said he was a massage therapist, and the clerk of court goes, "Oh, do you have a business card? We could use you later on." And I'm like, "I can't believe she just said this."
Wow.
The guy was like, "Yeah, I'm a massage therapist." Like, "Well, if anyone needs a massage, you have your card out." I mean, I love it. It's different to me, but yes, my reaction too, kind of similar. I was not used to that.
I bet. This actually reminds me of the days when I was still a law student. I in my first winter, before I even got to my first summer, I interned with the prosecutor's office in Breckenridge County, Kentucky. And I was seated at like it's very small county, tiny, tiny county. It's one little room basically. And you have the prosecutor, everyone but the judge are inside that room, or maybe even the judge was. No, I don't think the judge was outside. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, pretty much everyone but the judge was in the room. Like the the social worker from this county, the social worker for this thing, the prosecutor's assistant, the prosecutor. They're all there seated at the table, and I'm there in the corner in my sweater because it's December, like 2011, 2010. And I will never forget, they'll literally bring in these people one by one, conference the case. And as soon as that person would leave, doesn't matter, young, old, man, woman, child, other than like juvenile cases. I don't think they were handling like a juvenile docket that day. But anything short of that, the moment they walk out the door, somebody would say like, "Oh, I grew up with his grandmother," or like, "I went to high school with his dad," or, "Oh, I knew him since he was born," or like everybody knows everybody. And then compare that to Jefferson County, where I interned the following summer, which was summer 2011. That was a conveyor belt. It was like a next, 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 next type of mentality. Nobody knows like nobody else. So it's kind of interesting that you're getting that small town feel in that county. I mean, that is something, especially for such a highly publicized murder trial.
Yeah, it sounds very much like your experience, 100%. Um, part of, I mean, it is interesting, especially for a murder trial. I think it's interesting that it was even chosen in this county, considering he lives in this county, his family runs this county, they're very involved with the police, everything. I mean, I think that's a very interesting as well, that they even chose to have it here. But it is a small county, and there's nothing you can do about that. There's only, I forgot how many thousands of people, but
Kim says
900,
population
oh,
5,400.
population 4,500, 900 people with the jury pool. That's almost what, a fifth
Like a
of the
fifth.
population
Yeah.
in the freaking jury pool. Okay, so it's very hard to find people. You know, another funny story. One of the girls stood up and they were like, "Okay," because one of the questions is, "Do you know anyone who works for the clerk of court?" And girl, people stand up, whatever, and they're like, a girl stands up. They're like, "Okay, well, who do you, someone?" She's like, "Yeah, my mother works for, the courthouse here." And they're like, "Who is she?" The circuit court, the clerk of court. She's the lady up here asking all the questions. Her daughter is in the jury pool. We had a pair of a husband and wife sitting next to each other. They were both in the jury pool, but I thought it was awesome when her daughter was in the jury pool, and she's you know, the clerk of court. So that's how small it
That's
is,
crazy.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like, can you tell us who your mother is? And all you have to do is like point.
Point
She's
exactly.
sitting
She's the one
right
asking
there.
these questions. You are my mother. Can you? It's you.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal. We had a question in the chat here.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you feeling, James? Hope you're feeling better. Were you sick recently?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not feeling very well. I wasn't feeling well
Oh,
yesterday. I drove up from Florida. It ended up taking me longer. I got in at like 3 in the morning because I was spending time with my mom before I left. And then
mm.
I literally slept, what? I mean, 2 hours because I stay an hour in Charleston, an hour away in Charleston. So by the time I got to the court, because I got there early, I didn't know what to expect. After the Johnny Depp trial, I'm like, I'm showing up 3 hours early. Luckily, that was not necessary.
No,
Um,
probably not. I did the same thing with the Kristen Smart trial. I showed up because I remember seeing photos or something or people talking about lines to get in, but maybe that was like certain days. The day I showed up, it was literally I got there at 7 a.m. and they didn't even let us in for another hour and a half. And then when I did get in, I was like number two out of two people trying to get in. So
They
it's
were
very
like, "What are you
frustrating.
doing lining up like this?" Like, "Oh, wait, this isn't a trial where people sleep 8 hours the night before for it."
We have PTSD, my friend. We are
We do.
traumatized.
We do. I mean, no joke, and we don't, but I actually had, like, I didn't realize I had an anxiety attack the other day, like, where I
Oh
thought I
shit.
was having, like, heart issues, but it was really I found out it was just anxiety attack. I swear it's from Virginia. I swear to God it's from
Oh damn.
sleeping out on the courthouse. No, it's not a big deal. It's really fine.
Oh,
I do
okay.
breathing exercises now. It's really, really fine, but, something
It's a
about
mental
that.
game.
Yes,
Everybody gets them, including myself. I sometimes get, what I imagine to be a panic attack or like an anxiety attack, and it's all about just like bringing it in, realizing this is all in your head. This is not real. It's a fight or flight response that your body is trying to like trigger as a result of some stimulus. And
exactly.
like you said, breathing exercises, like bringing it all in. Yeah, believe it or not, even the DY guy himself, yes, not afraid to admit it. We're all fucking humans, you know? So Kim says best duo ever.
Agreed.
Thank you, Kim. Um yeah, feel free to ask any other questions if you guys have them in the chat. But in the interim, and don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, of course. How are you still not subscribed? It's free. Just push the button. Um, so with respect to this trial itself, James,
Yes.
where like okay, so it's a very political atmosphere. It's a very small town. Everybody knows everybody. The jury that has been selected, in your opinion, do they appear to be the least familiar with this case? Were they the 2% that did not stand up that I know something about this case?
Yes, I would assume so, 100%. I have to look, at the numbers because in the beginning, I was I'm a little intense with my note taking, so I literally wrote down when they would do all the roll calls, like, each juror number and everything about them that I could, like, when they were answering their questions, just, like, what they looked like, everything, just, like, basic demographic information. So,
Yeah.
now I have to go back and cross-reference that with the numbers that were called out and called today, because then I'll know exactly who, um, sits on the jury and more information about them. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Well, good for
Sorry.
you. You did some work, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, my, hand cramped the first day, but I think it'll pay off because I really did enjoy watching the jury in the Johnny Depp trial, and I think that was a huge aspect of it. So if I could find, now knowing the people sitting when I go back on Monday and I see the 12 or 18 jurors, potential jurors, I can say, "Oh, wow, it was this person who, like, maybe they didn't," you know, to see it was this person who said they didn't know anything about the trial. Now I can assume that those yes, all the people that selected were people that did not know anything about the trial or the Murdough family beforehand. But at the same time, I'm a little sus about that because I find it very hard to believe that people
Mhm.
have not heard anything about it. To me, I feel like I don't know. If you are saying that, you're not saying it. You either dislike him and you want to get on the jury pool, or you like him and you want to get on the
Mm.
jury pool. It's
I
hard
will
for me
say
to
anything to
imagine.
get on kind of thing.
I mean, so there
That's
was one
interesting.
juror who said that they knew something they didn't know. Okay, what did they say? I don't wanna give any more away, so I'm just gonna say they. They said that they worked for one of the entities that was involved, but they had no idea about the trial, but they wanted to stay on as a juror. And I'm like, "Interesting. So, you work for this kinda, thing, but you don't know anything about it, but it makes you totally not partial to to the trial."
That
I just
magical cure-all question that prosecutors and defense attorneys prosecutors love them, defense attorneys hate them. Well, despite the fact that you are married to the police officer that is about to testify, can you be fair and impartial when you take the stand? Like, fuck no is the answer. But
no,
of course, they say, oh, absolutely, absolutely. My marriage to the witness has absolutely nothing to do on the bearing of their testimony. Like, please, lady,
stop,
get over
because it's
yourself.
hilarious you say that. One guy, this guy in the back, he he literally was a friend of Buster's, friends of police officers, had been to the party, like, parties of the family's house, answered all these questions, and they asked him every time, "Do you think this will affect your impartiality to make," and he said, "No." And I'm like,
Nope.
"Yeah, okay, man, okay." Alex Murdough was literally turning around smiling at him, and the guy's saying, "No, I'm definitely gonna be impartial." I'm like, "This is ridiculous." No, he
Oh
did. It
my
wasn't like his fault, but he
god.
was because there was one point where the guy was talking about how he knew people who were police officers and he knew Buster and he knew the family, and Alex Murdoch did smile. I mean, he smiled at it. So obviously he knows this guy. It's
Mhm.
a friend of his son's, but he's definitely there. He's like, no, I can be impartial. Like, sure, bro, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Okay, buddy. You just want to
Yes.
rescue your buddy. Like, I don't know if you are up to speed on the Danny Masterson stuff, but essentially, we had a rogue juror that became the jury foreman in that
Mm,
trial, and he's got a past. Not him, but his son, and he never disclosed that. And it's a very dirty, vile past. If you haven't watched this video, it's on my channel. Go check it out. It is atrocious, you guys. Growing up in Scientology, by the way, Aaron Laverne Smith, I think is his full name, but Aaron is what he calls himself. He did a video breaking it down as well. Absolutely go check that out if you're interested. But back to the Murdoch stuff. So we have this pool of 12 jurors that are going to be sitting in judgment of Alex Murdaugh. And I imagine this whole time he has been in custody, right? He has not been roaming free.
no, he's been in custody, whatever that means, because they
Sitting in
just released a
jail.
mugshot of him today, and he's wearing like a checkered button down. So I don't know what kind of custody he's in, but he is in custody. He's not like on home arrest or out on what, on bail or something.
Levin Smith. Thank you for correcting me, chat. Sorry. Did I say Laverne? I was close. I was close. I got like the first part and the last part correct. Anyway, so if you don't mind, James.
Yeah.
So, okay, the jury that is going to be sitting in judgment, I'm going to give you like a very, very hard question, and it's very intentional because
Okay.
I'm not really even looking for an answer. I just want to hear your thoughts.
Sure.
Do you think Alex Murdaugh is going to be convicted based on everything you've seen so far?
Oh God, Larry.
I told you it's going to be a hard
What
question.
is
I
he doing
warned
to me?
you.
I knew you said a hard question, but come on, man. All right,
I think the
here.
whole world. Okay, first of all, let me since you responded in such a fashion. Here's
Yes.
what I'm going to tell you. What I think. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I think. I think I usually look because I don't know all the facts. For me, it's very very difficult. You probably don't know all the facts either. You have been a little bit more entrenched in this. You went there. You know, you've sat inside the courtroom. You haven't heard opening statements, but I imagine you probably have more familiarity with the case than I do. The rest of the world appears to have already convicted Alex. Okay.
Mm,
Popular opinion, we have two courts, just like in the Johnny Depp trial. He could have, in theory, lost the case, but he would have still won in the court of public opinion. In Johnny Depp's case, he won in the court of public opinion and he won in court. Okay.
yeah.
So in Alex Murdaugh's situation, it looks like he has already lost in the court of public opinion, again, because of all the extra sus stuff, the relatives that seem to be falling off like flies
Mm-hmm.
off the planet. And now he is being accused of being directly involved in some way, shape, or form in the murder of his wife and his son. So, actually, let me back up. The first question is: are they charging both charges in this trial? Are they trying him for both murders?
Yes.
Both murders. Okay.
Yeah.
So, with that out of the way, do you think he did it? Do you think he's going to be convicted? What are your thoughts?
Okay. So I will start with, again, it is very hard because this is the county that he lives in. This is where his 1,500-acre estate is in. Um, it was I was thinking about this today. The Johnny Depp trial was two celebrities going into a court in Northern Virginia. And I know Team Amber tried to paint it like, oh, the jurors are, they know about Johnny Depp because he's a celebrity and they just love him and whatever. The truth was, these jurors couldn't give two, blanks about Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. They were people, I think, in their own right, like have their own professions, their own lives, were there. They looked at the evidence, they tried to be impartial, and they did, the job that they could do. And even, I mean, they gave a little bit of settlement to Amber, so they were even a little bit more impartial than I thought they would be. You know what I mean? They actually gave her some part of it with the Adam Waldman stuff. But this is very different because, yes, public opinion is one way. And everyone I talk to, whether it's in Charleston or near the area, or people that show up to the court, have a feeling about him and the family. I mean, their family has been known for decades, if not over a century, in South Carolina, and it's very well known, all of their kind of dark secrets, and they haven't really treated the community very well. It's a family that has gotten away with a lot of things that the average person in South Carolina wouldn't be able to, in a state that's already divided kind of with inequality and a class struggle between wealthy South Carolinians who have been there for centuries, whose families have generational wealth and power for centuries, and then people who don't, you know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
already a dynamic that's kind of seeded into South Carolina culture. And I think that broods an animosity towards him that a lot of people feel like it's about time that he pay for the crimes, that he's
Interesting.
been getting away with. On
Yeah.
the other hand, so that's the one hand that you said, that the public opinion portion. And of course, everyone around the country sees it. And I think their attitude is they have no, they don't care about him or whatever. So they see it as black and white, like, oh, this guy is a wealthy, powerful guy. Like, this stuff happened. They're looking at the evidence. He does seem, guilty. So they're kind of siding with that to begin with. Whether or not that's true, it's just public opinion. However, sorry, I'm
Right.
getting there, everyone.
No,
Um,
no, please take your
I
time.
know I could be.
I want to
No, I
make
know.
sure
I'm
you
just
give the
people's like,
well-rounded
where's James
answer.
going with this? Um, the jury, I think, is different because these are people that are going to have to live with the decision that they make, and their families are going to have to live with that decision forever. And, we may all look at it and be
Mm,
like, well, it's 2023. Like, you know, like people can go and would you really be crazy to mess with a jury or do these things? And, why would a jury be scared of someone, living from another state, you may not know about the power dynamic of that family, so you can't imagine why would you be so scared that you would be biased in your decision. But I think that there is, I mean, when I talk to people, there is an element of fear about this family. And I've heard things about police officers being paid off, lawyers being paid off, judges being paid off in the past. These are all allegations, of course, and rumors and such, but it's not far fetched because we know that happens all over the place in other states and other situations. I mean, look at the mafia, look at, cartels. Money buys influence. I don't think that's a new concept for anyone. And I wouldn't say that that's out of play here. I mean, look at Alex Murdaugh's leading defense attorney. He is a current state senator in the Democrat Party of South Carolina. I mean, it's just, it's crazy to me. There's so much politics involved. Uh, the people on the jury again live in the community. They know the Murdaugh family. They could be fearful. There could be incentives for them to make certain decisions. Not saying that that's going to happen. I really hope the best, and I hope that this jury acts with complete impartiality. But I
Yeah.
think that's very hard in a system that's dominated by money and power. So that's a long answer to your question.
No, please. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I was looking for. So, there's definitely, everyone in this country is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, or they decide to plead guilty voluntarily, knowingly, and intelligently of their own volition and sign a guilty plea form. So obviously, a guilty plea form has not happened in this case, but we do have a jury trial, which is going to result and culminate in a verdict of either acquittal on both, conviction on both, or acquittal for one, conviction on the other. Um, so I look forward. I know some lawyers that have been covering this case, like Rekieta Law, I know has been live streaming. I think I caught him earlier. I just didn't have time to go and check it out. But I definitely saw that he had like 5,500 people watching. So if you're
Yeah.
interested in watching this trial with like live commentary, I'm going to plug in Nick Rekieta right here. So um, go check it out. I mean, he's streaming every day. I think he's streaming the entire trial, kind of like what he did with Johnny Depp, if I'm not mistaken. But please feel free to correct me on that. Um, so other lawyers may be doing that as well. Nicholas Stero, welcome back to the channel, brother. He says, this is a case where I believe, so this is his own personal opinion, I believe he, meaning Alex Murdaugh, did it, but I can't see a conviction based on the extremely complex and circumstantials that all need to be connected. So kind of like what happened in the Kristen Smart jury trial. I feel
Mm.
if Paul Rubin, no, sorry, Rubin was the dad, Paul Flores had a better lawyer, maybe he would have gotten an acquittal as well, because Rubin Flores walked, the father. Um, Sometimes it does boil down to lawyer work, especially on a case that is like 25, 26 years old. And in a case like this, where there are a lot of circumstantial evidence that the prosecution has to prove in their case, they certainly become very complicated cases to prove for the prosecution. So I definitely agree with you there, Nicholas, as far as that is concerned, if that is the case. Again, my familiarity with the case is at this juncture tangential. That may change as I do more research into it. I had a lot on my plate, as you all have noticed. I haven't really been streaming as much as I would like to, and traveling, literally running all over the place. I have traveled more in the last 3 months, 2.5 months, than I did probably in the last 2 years combined, if that tells you anything. So can't complain. Just a lot of stuff to be done. Jay Dice is asking, and I think this is a question for you, James. Does this judge seem, or I guess appear to be objective, in your opinion?
I mean, yes, I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. Um, yeah, I want to say that he seems very nice. He seems like a good guy. I don't know any more than that. I would like to look into him just because finding out in South Carolina, not everything is like how it seems. You know what I mean? So I want to
Really?
look into him, but I don't know if that's any reason to say anything about the judge. He does seem great. As far as I know, a few judges had to recuse themselves in the past involving this case. So I believe that because they, centered on him, that he's someone that could be impartial and good. He's also not from this area, as far as I'm concerned. He's from a different county. And I think he's from Columbia possibly, and he's traveling to this county. But again, I mean, South Carolina is it's a small town, but the state is small as well. Everyone, especially in politics, everyone knows each other. So I don't know who he knows. I'd have to see also his political affiliation because remember the attorney general, they're Republicans, and Alex Murdough and their team are Democrats. Now, forget political ideology. This has nothing to do with this. This is just, as far as like the teams, the state is a Republican-led state, the governor's state. And actually, if you look at the the leading defense attorney, he's quite critical. He's gotten in Twitter wars where I think he told one of the governors to go to blank. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
there's a lot of politics at play here too against each other. So I don't know what the judge is. My point is I think he's good. I will say I heard that his son died recently, and I think that's sort of
Mm.
sad. He had a young son. So I'm sure in some ways he probably can sympathize with Alex Murdaugh in this case. Whether or not Alex Murdaugh did it or not, they both lost sons. You know what I mean? But I think the judge could be objective. Although in this, we'll see. I mean, in this case, he doesn't have that much power beyond making certain rulings. And we'll see whether or not those rulings seem objective or partial.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I
Right?
think it's a little premature to kind of determine, and especially, like you said, not everything may appear as it seems, especially in these small counties.
Yeah.
Um, Elusive Red is asking another package. Hey Larry, did my package arrive at your office? I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. Glad to catch you live. I am not in the office right now, as you can uh, probably see, but I will, as soon as I get back to the office, I will definitely check it out. I had 3 people send me packages within like the last 2 weeks, James.
That's awesome. What have you
It's
gotten?
So one, I'm supposed to unbox it live, so I'm saving it for
Okay.
when I get back. I already have the package. It's in my possession. It's in my studio. I just need to get him on and open it up. And now Elusive Red is telling me that I have a package from her, and I guess I'm not supposed to wait and just open it up. And then somebody's trying to send me a book. Originally, they were supposed to send a PDF file, and now they're sending like an
What?
actual paper copy. Well, I don't know. It's definitely unusual. I remember getting a bunch of stuff during the Johnny Depp trial. I don't know why January has become package month, but I'm very excited to check all of that stuff out. And with you guys, I mean, this is all you. So thanks, Elusive Red. I had no idea you even sent something, or maybe I did. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I've been so busy. It's hard to keep up sometimes. I did mention what's his name? Nick Ricada. He had like 5,500, and somebody mentioned in the chat that Emily D. Baker had 21,000 people watching the trial with her as she was commenting. I love
Yeah.
Emily to death. She is fire. I mean, that's amazing. That for a trial like this to get 21K, that's incredible.
And dude, just for jury selection, it's not even like the televised like trial yet with all the crazy stuff. That's just for like audio feed of jury selection. She's getting 21,000, which I mean, just real quick, props to Emily D. Baker. I mean, she's, 100%, she's the law queen in my eyes for sure. Um, I got introduced to all of this with her and then all of you from her, but it was originally from watching her in one of the trials. I forgot what it was, but and I think she's managed a community for everyone. That's such a great community, and I love that everyone has like their own like kind of like group, you know what I mean? But everyone comes together and everyone like supports each other. I love seeing that as well. But also to the point that I think this trial is going to be huge. I mean, I know the Johnny Depp trial is huge because there's millions of Johnny Depp fans, and it was such a sensational thing with, I stepped on a bee and all these other things that were, going on in court. But this trial has all the makings of like the craziest House of Cards style Netflix TV special that you could ever imagine. I mean, it really is something like, I don't know if you ever seen Ozark, but it's something out of
Yes.
Ozark. Like, so
Wow.
today, I thought it was really interesting. The state prosecutors brought up the fact that the Murdaugh on the 1,500-acre compound have a plane landing strip because there's a very interesting rumor about that family and possibly involvement of planes landing for unknown reasons and money and things like that, possibly from other countries. So I thought the fact that the defense or the state even brought that up, so that just shows you again, this is like Breaking Bad, House of Cards, Ozark, all in one, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Wow. That's wild, man. I mean, okay, you're starting to get me hooked on this.
Yeah, I think it'll be very big and very publicized and watched once it starts.
Thank you, Matt Johnson. I really appreciate the kind words.
I agree. I
Um,
echo Matt Johnson.
thanks. Loco Moco says, "Where were you sitting, James, from court? And are you going to attend DUI guy?" Go ahead, James.
I was sitting about, I don't know, two or three rows, excuse me, from Murdough. I wasn't there today, so you won't see me on the feed. But yeah, I was sitting yesterday and the day before, like two or three back from him on the right side of the courtroom.
Hmm.
And I think that they'll be opening it now a little bit more. They were very strict about it before, but that's because the entire back room was filled with jurors. Each like row, there was 14 rows, and they were all filled with jurors. So now that that's opened up, I think it'll be
Right.
easier. Yeah. So hopefully, yeah, I hope that some more
There
people.
was a rumor that Alex cried at some point in the last couple of days. Did you catch anything
Yeah,
of that nature?
today. Yes, I find that interesting because he was very different the past few days. I mean, he was quite chummy, I would describe him as the first day, and then the second day, he was a little bit less so, but very much focused on the documents and writing things down and, handing notes to the defense attorneys and whispering in their ears. So I think Loco Moco just hit it on the head. Fake tears. He's obviously a better actor than Amber Heard because he can actually cry, but I don't
Real
know if they're
tears,
real
not
or not.
crocodile tears.
No, he didn't have to sniff peppermint oil or whatever she was doing in order to make herself cry.
Okay, okay. Am I going to attend? Actually, James and I were having this conversation behind the
Mm,
scenes right before he popped on. If it were up to me, I would already be there, and I would be there every
nice.
single day watching the trial with James, sitting next to James, probably playing
Yeah.
footsie with him half the time. And the only problem is, like I said, I'm already traveling. I'm coming back tomorrow. And then the following week, I'm traveling again. Some of you who follow me know, follow me on Twitter, I should say, because I may have discussed this on my YouTube channel. I don't know if I have yet or not. But I am going to Savannah, Georgia on February the 1st. I'm going to be there for 3 days. For the first time in my career as an attorney, as a litigator, as a firm owner, as a businessman, I am going to be speaking to a bunch of licensed attorneys from all over the country at a symposium, which is just a fancy word for lecture, really. But symposium sounds nicer because a lecture, you think lecture, you probably are thinking 10, 12 people. This one is going to be somewhere between 50 and 80, I understand. I don't know how many ended up signing up. I'm sure we have concrete numbers now that we're a week away from the symposium. However, it really is a big deal. James, I'm talking to you as well. Like, not trying to toot my own horn, but to be invited as a guest, as a student is easy. Anybody in the country can do that.
Yeah.
But for the first time, I'm being invited as a guest to speak as a lecturer because I guess they have this wild notion that I've accumulated enough knowledge to start teaching this shit. I don't know
Yeah.
who gave them the idea, but you know what? I will take it, and I will definitely give it my best shot and try and impart some knowledge upon these both young and old attorneys. These are not just like fresh grads or anything like that. The craziest part is I'm going to have people in the audience, maybe half of them, maybe more than half. They're going to be older than me.
Nice.
So I'm going to
That's
be
awesome,
teaching
man.
people who have been practicing maybe like twice as long as I have. But at the end of the day, again, I take it with a grain of salt. I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I'm humbled by it. I can't wait. I'm going to try not to fuck it up as best as I can, and have fun with it as well. But that's next week. So I can't go to the trial because of that. And then the week after that, I have a jury trial on February the 10th, the Friday. So if for some magical reason it gets settled or whatever ahead of time, then I may be able to come that week. Otherwise, I'm kind of stuck. And then I have a jury trial in the week after that, and I have a jury trial the week after that. It's literally now back to back. All these jury trials that I was supposed to have in September, October, November, December, January of this year, they're all now getting smushed into February, March, April, May. So I have like 22 jury trials, I think, 23. Yeah, it's not fun, but hey, it's part of the job. So I
Well,
hope
that's
that was
awesome.
a very lengthy answer as well. Thanks, James.
I'm not surprised. I mean, you are representing kind of like this new dynamic, for lawyers who, social media didn't always play a role. Obviously lawyers utilize advertisements, a lot of print ad, a lot of, bus ads and, park benches and commercials and stuff. But you've really kind of like made a way as far as in social media and marketing and YouTube and doing all these things. So I definitely think you have a ton of knowledge. And also, I mean, you know, you run like a very successful practice on your own. I found that out through meeting you in the trial in Johnny Depp. So being able to manage all of that and still work every day and manage and do cases and win cases all the time, you definitely deserve it. So congratulations for sure.
Well, thanks, man. Those are kinder words than I think I deserve, but I'll take it. Yeah, I'll be talking about next week about how to cross-examine a police officer in a DUI
Nice.
case. So that's kind of my claim to fame on the, I guess what we could call the legacy YouTube.
Mm.
Like that's how I got most of my views before the Johnny Depp trial and subscribers and all that. Kim says Rakeda had his chat looking for you today, James.
Oh, nice. So, I'm so sad. It must have been a "Where's Waldo" here thing, but no Waldo. Yeah, sorry everyone. The one day, yeah, I didn't go. Again, I thought that it kind of wouldn't be. I didn't think opening statements would start today. I thought they would really kind of be pushed off. So I'm gonna show up on Monday. And everyone can look for me in the feeds then. But happy to go on, of course, if Ricada ever wants any questions or whatever, he can, DM me or anyone in the chat. Feel free to whatever, either online or offline. I'm always available to talk to anyone.
Fantastic, man. And thank you. I can't highlight this, but thank you to, can I? No, I can't. To Viking Wolf by Blood, also our newest moderator, for reigning us with gifted subs or gifted memberships, rather. I think that's what they call it here on YouTube. Gifted memberships, not subs. Obviously, subs are free. So don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Join on as a member if you haven't been gifted a membership by Viking Wolf by Blood just a few seconds ago. So thank you for that again. Any final words that you want to share with us before we sign off here, James? Any interesting observations, comments, things that we have not touched upon that you are like, you guys need to know this?
No, I mean, we've touched on a lot of it's just starting out. So I think the energy really is there for this trial. The fact that everyone seems to be really interested in just the jury selection shows a lot. I think it'll get more interesting as we go. I think in the Johnny Depp trial, we saw a lot of spectacle, a lot of funny, witnesses, a lot of funny moments, a lot of things to mock, especially even with the attorneys, Elaine, different things like that. I don't think we're going to see that here. I think both teams of attorneys are sharks, and I think we're going to see sharks going at each other, and I think it's going to be a real battle. Actually, in the defense attorney's opening today, he said, I'm going to say a lot of things and you're not going to like me and you're not going to like the things that I say, but don't use that on Alex Murdaugh. I'm just a lawyer, take your attitudes and put it on me and don't reflect that on my client. So he's already setting it up for a bloodbath, in my opinion. And I think this is going to be I said this the other day, uh, yes, on a stream with Uncivil Law. It's not like, in the Johnny Depp trial where it's like Nadal or someone going, up against like someone, in the 200s or the 300s, let's say tennis or whatever. This is like two really great teams. It's going to be a back and forth,
Mhm.
like quick. It's going to be legal maneuvering. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch them go cutthroat to defend. I mean, this guy's entire reputation is in, whether or not he can hold his head high ever again. I mean, or he's going to jail where he put people in jail where people are, may have things about him. Now he has to go in with the people that he's isolated himself. This family has lived on, silver spoons in their mouths for generations, and now he's going to be in a federal prison. So this really is,
Right.
in my opinion, life or death, and we're going to see that in the courtroom. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And like I said, I will do my absolute bestest to show up in the flesh because nothing beats real life, in-person experience. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be in the cards for me just because of the circumstances that I find myself in right now. And by the way, part of it, a very large part of the circumstances where I find myself in right now is thanks to the Johnny Depp trial.
Mm,
The notoriety, the recognition, the namesake, recognizing my name, my brand name alone has definitely propelled me to be doing. I would never have dreamed that I'd be traveling so much, but for that unlocking like all this potential and these ideas, if you will. So I can't complain. I really can't complain. I'm still having a wonderful, wonderful time. And if I miss the boat, I miss the boat. Something else will come along. I'm not worried about it. I will do my absolute bestest. At the first available opportunity, I'll be on a plane and on my way to you, James.
awesome. Well, I hope you do. And Savannah is only like an hour and a half from Walterboro. So, if you find your way afterwards, you have some time, drive up.
Hey,
Or,
well, the problem is it'll be for like an hour after court, so
yeah, that's true.
that's the only downside. But yes, if I want to make it into the courtroom, I would have to move things around, or again, some of the things that I can't move around. But we'll talk more. I will keep you posted, definitely, both you and the chat. And if you follow me on Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter, why aren't you following me on Twitter? Unless you don't have a Twitter, then don't follow me on Twitter because you don't get Twitter because it's horrific. But if you have a Twitter, why haven't you followed me yet? At the DUI Guy Plus, go follow. And if you haven't subscribed, again, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, join on as a member. James, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so great. Thank you for the intel and the information that you provided us with from being inside the courtroom yourself.
Well, absolutely, Larry. And it's good talking to you like always. Happy to be here. Happy to be with the chat. And we'll have to do it again very shortly for sure.
100%. We'll have you on next week. How about that?
Sounds great. I'll be here.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, so that was James from court. He's there, like he is in South Carolina, literally in the trenches, waiting in a very, very, very short, non-existent line, despite us both having PTSD from the Johnny Depp trial. We have learned our lessons to show up early to court, and sometimes it bites us in the ass, apparently, as you heard James say. He showed up far too early. He didn't even get enough sleep, so now he's feeling a bit under the weather. And I wish him nothing but the best. Heal up quick, get strong, and go back to the courthouse, to the courtroom, and watch this trial unfold in action. I mean, I think it's very fascinating that we're getting a sample taste for the first time on kind of what appears to be a national level of a trial in a very small community, in a very small, close knit. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody has a connection. You know, one of the jurors is the daughter of the woman literally read the circuit clerk, the woman reading the names. I mean, that's just insanity. It's absolutely insane as to how tiny that world is. And that is not something that we experienced in the Johnny Depp trial, of course. And that is not something that we have experienced in any other publicly notarized cases like Kyle Rittenhouse. What were some other ones that were pretty popular recently, or even not so recently? You know, Casey Anthony, obviously the O.J. Simpson, the Michael Jackson, all those cases. They're all celebrity cases. Rarely do you get like the entire country watching this family because they're almost like they have earned a celebrity like mafioso status. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. And of course, there's always going to be this subheading of who is influencing the jury, if maybe the reputation of the man on trial itself being in some way, shape, or form influencing the poor jurors' minds to the point where they're going to be at least one of them. All they need is one. To a defense, anything except a guilty verdict is a victory. You get a hung jury and it's 11-1 and they just can't decide. And one person's like, no, I'm not, nope, not voting guilty no matter what you tell me. That's it. I mean, that's it. You have to. It's a hung jury. The defense wins, and you start over if the prosecution decides to retry, and that's going to be months in the future. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still going to be sitting and rotting away while they're waiting for that case to happen. Kind of like what happened with Danny Masterson, except he's free on like a $2 million bond or whatever it is, 1.5, I think it was. But anyway, I have been posting shorts. I will continue to do so. We had one short go viral just the other day. I want to show you guys. This is kind of crazy. On not on YouTube, on TikTok, we had one short. This is just fascinating. I did not expect to see this. Look at that. I don't know if you'll. Let me see. Let me zoom in. You probably can't see that right now, but if I zoom in, there we go. Look at this. Look at that. 1.4 million views on a TikTok that I posted literally like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, something like that. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So I'm very excited. We're going to keep pumping those out. I mean, they're short, they're sweet, they're fun. They get you guys excited. They are bringing traffic to the channel. They bring views to the other videos. So I'm going to keep it going. Shorts are being monetized as of February 1st, which is definitely a new thing that I have never seen before. So I'm very excited about that too. And I'm going to continue streaming at every available opportunity. I do have a stream planned for tomorrow, and I do have a stream planned for Friday. So even though I'm traveling, the last couple of days have just been a little bit tight. I just was not able to get anything going, but I'm going to keep those shorts pumping out, and we're going to get these lives going as often as I can. As James and I already said, we're definitely going to try and get him back on next week when he's going to be back in the courtroom with fresh intel and more information for all of us. So I'm very excited about that. And until then, I love every single one of you. Thank you all for joining me here today on this hump day on Wednesday, January the 25th. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, James, for joining me. Thank you for giving me all the intel. Thank you, chat, for being so lively today. I mean, You guys were amazing. The questions you were asking, everything was on point. It was just beautiful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, bye everybody.